Hello and welcome to another video. So today I am bringing you my February reading wrap up, and let me just tell you, this month was so good for me. I am so happy with my progress right now. So in February I read a total of 20 books, plus finished the other half of the book that I was still reading going into February. So I did DNF one book. I'm gonna just quickly mention that book now. So I DNF'd Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I read 178 pages and I wasn't connecting with any of the characters. I didn't really like any of them. I wasn't really understanding the story. Nothing was happening really, and I just could not get into it. I thought it might have been the physical book, so I picked up the audiobook. Really liked the narrator, didn't like the story. So unfortunately this one is not for me. So I can now take this out. So my total page count for February was 8,790 pages. That is just wow. So having said that, that total of pages does include the other 398 pages of Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson that I did not get to in January. This was such an amazing end to a trilogy. This got 5 stars on Corpal, which I was so happy about. Characters 9, atmosphere 9, writing 10, plot 9, intrigue 10, logic 7, and enjoyment 9. I think logic got a lower number because there was just a few things that just didn't add up for me, but it was nothing that affected my enjoyment too much, and I thought the ending was really good. One thing I have noticed in the 4 Brandon Sanderson books I've read is that Brandon Sanderson is not afraid to put his characters through hell, and as much as it hurts, I'm kind of here for it. And I thought this was such a good ending to the trilogy, although I am now really curious to pick up Mistborn Era 2 because I don't know where it's going to go from here. So we'll see, I'll get to that eventually. But yeah. So then we move on to books I started and finished in February. So we have Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. So I didn't actually end up finishing this until later on in the month. However, I am just going to go through them in the order they are on Corpal, which is the order I started them in. So we have Skyward by Brandon Sanderson, and I have decided this author is like an author for me now after reading the Mistborn trilogy. I absolutely adore that series, and this author, Brandon Sanderson, has just a way of writing, and I was a bit skeptical going into this because this is not only YA but it's also sci-fi, and I'm like not the biggest fan of sci-fi. I do enjoy it, but it's not my go-to genre, so I was a bit unsure, and because of that I think that's part of the reason it got 4 stars instead of 5. So characters was 7, atmosphere was 7, writing 8, plot 8, intrigue 8, logic 8, and enjoyment 9. So overall 4 star. I did enjoy this. The main character, Spencer, is so annoying. She did bring down characters for me a bit because she was just so... she come across younger than she actually was, and I do understand that it could have partly been because of her upbringing, and you know, she doesn't have any friends because of what her dad did, but I still wasn't the biggest fan of her. But overall I really enjoyed this story, and there's a like AI type unit in this, Ember, which is literally my favourite character. None of the humans, no, the AI. But I'm definitely intrigued to go into the second book and see how this continues. Next up, we had my reread of A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. Now, I know a lot of people aren't a massive fan of this, however, I absolutely adore this. I think part of the reason I adore it is because it doesn't really have much plot to it. It's just 227 pages of pure bliss at looking at my favourite characters. and it really does set up for A Court of Silver Flames. So this of course got 5 out of 5 stars. So characters got a 10, atmosphere got a 10, writing 9, plot 8, intrigue 9, logic 9, and enjoyment 10. So yeah, there's not really much else I can say about this. This was a reread, but I absolutely adored it. Next up we have Ember and the Ice Dragons by Heather Fawcett. I really did enjoy this. This is a middle grade and it's just such a cute adventure and I really liked it. It was a fun read. It wasn't the best book I've ever read, but I did really enjoy it. And this actually come out as a 4-star overall. So characters got an 8, atmosphere got an 8, writing 8, plot 8, intrigue 8, logic 8, and enjoyment 8. So 8's all round, and overall that is a 4-star. Next up we have Crush by Tracy Wolff. This book is chunky as hell and it killed me. I am so ready for the 3rd book in this series. This follows on a few months after the events of the 1st book. And a lot happens in this. There's a sort of games as well, which was really fun. I really enjoyed that aspect. I love it when there's like a tournament or games or something in a story like this, but I really enjoyed the characters. I loved finding out more about the different creatures and it was just really fun, and I just really enjoyed how the characters come together and work together. And the ending had me a little bit shook, but I did see it coming. Yeah, even though I did see it coming, it was still a bit of a holy crap moment, which is exactly what I want from a book like this. I love it when that happens. So this come out as a 5-star, just like the 1st book. So characters 9, atmosphere 9, writing 9, plot 9, intrigue 10, logic 9, and enjoyment 10. So I said at the end of Crave that the ending sort of like, I wasn't really feeling the ending. However, this book, as I was promised by Liv, this book really did deliver on that and go more into that ending, and it made me feel better about the ending of Crave. So if I was to reread these books, or rather when I reread them, I think I will enjoy the ending to the 1st book a lot more. Next up we have Snow Like Ashes by Sarah Rash. I didn't have particularly high expectations for this, but I also didn't have low expectations for this. I love everything I've read by Sarah Rash so far, so I did expect to absolutely love this. However, I did also take into the fact that this was her debut book, and from experience with other authors, their debut books, if you read them after their newer books, they can sort of fall flat a little bit, and I did get that with this a little bit. However, I did still really enjoy this, and I am excited to move on to the next book in the series. However, this did get a 3-star. It was sort of a midway 3-star as well, but I did enjoy it, and I am definitely going to be picking up the other 2 books in the series because I am really enjoying the story. I just think the writing isn't as strong as her other writing in her other books. So characters got 6, atmosphere got 7, writing got 6, plot got 8, intrigue got 7, logic got 7, and enjoyment got 7. So yeah, the characters, I wasn't a huge fan of some of the characters, and I felt like a lot of things could have been avoided if there was more communication. And I'm not a huge fan of miscommunication as sort of like a trope type of thing, and I feel like the main character was kept out of the loop so much that it caused other things to happen. And yeah, but I also don't think the main character handled it very well with not knowing things and acted like a bit of a spoilt brat sometimes, which I'm not here for. But like I said, from the way this ended, I am looking forward to seeing the character development for that main character, because I do think the ending of this book will shape the character going forward. But I can't say anything more than that without going into spoiler territory. Next up we have Even the Darkest Stars by Heather Fawcett. I really enjoyed this book, more than I actually thought I would, which is good because I've heard some very mixed views on this, but I only picked this up as a sort of last minute thing for Polathon. Because the ebook was on Scribd, so I thought, do you know what, I'm going to give it a go, and do you know what, I'm glad I did, and I will be picking up the sequel. However, it is not a series I will reread, so I am glad I went to Scribd to read a copy rather than to go and purchase a copy myself. Having said that, this did get a 4-star overall. So characters got a 6, atmosphere got an 8, writing got an 8, plot got a 9, intrigue 9, logic 8, and enjoyment 8. So yeah, I did enjoy it. The characters did bring it down. I wasn't a massive fan of the characters in this. I'm not even sure what it was. It's just the characters I didn't feel I clicked with well enough. But like I said, I do want to read the second book. It is only a duology. I do want to read the second book, but I'm not in any rush to pick it up. Next up, we have Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare. This is my 3rd read of this book, and it's been out less than a year. On the day I'm filming this, it's still not been a year since this one was released. So this was my 3rd read of this, and each time I read it, I just love it that little bit more. It's obviously not a perfect book. No book I don't think is a 100% perfect, but I absolutely adore the characters in this. And I think it helps that they are the children of the characters in the Infernal Devices, because those characters are also incredible. Cassie writes characters really well. I think as much as I love Cassie's stories and her writing and her plots, her strongest point is her characters. I adore Thomas. I adore Alistair, and Alistair is one of those characters where you hate him at first because he was a bully as a kid. But in this book, you see him growing and you see him hurt, and I just absolutely love him. But yeah, obviously this got a 5-star. Like, are we shocked? So characters 10, atmosphere 9, writing 9, plot 9, intrigue 9, logic 9, and enjoyment 10. So yeah, who knows if I'll reread this again within the next year? Probably. But the sequel to this comes out very soon, and I'm literally going to drop everything as soon as one of my copies arrives, because I have 4 copies on the way. So yeah. Next up, we have Midnight Alley by Rachel Kane. This is the 3rd book in the Morganville Vampire series, and obviously I've been buddy reading these with my mum and my sister, and I am still really enjoying my reread of these. There are things that are said or done which I am seeing a bit more now, as in, like, you can tell this was written like over a decade ago, because those sort of things just wouldn't fit in books that were written now. But if you just remember that they were written in a different time, like, there's nothing super bad. It's just like some things are like really outdated. Like, for one, flip phones. What? Anyway, this overall got a 4-star again, which is what it got the first time I read it. So characters got a 9, atmosphere got 8, writing 8, plot 8, intrigue 8, logic 8, and enjoyment 10. So yeah, the reason the characters got a little bit lower is because Shane really annoys me in this book. And whenever Shane annoys me, it brings the characters down, because I love Shane and I don't want him to act the way he acts sometimes. But yeah. Next up, we have Tangler Spells by Michelle Harrison. This is the 3rd book in the Pinch Magic series, and I actually thought this was the end of the series, but turns out it's not the end, which I'm really happy about. And what I do love about this series is that it wraps up enough that if it was the end of the series, you would be satisfied but still wanting more. But then you're like, actually there is more, and you're really happy about it. And what I loved most about this one is it takes a slightly dark turn. Obviously dark to the extent a middle grade will go. It's still middle grade, purely middle grade. But I'm not a massive fan of like horror and things like that. So if I am going to pick up horror or something like that, it's going to be on a very dulled down tone, for example, a middle grade. So the fact this was a lot creepier than the first 2, I was absolutely here for, because I absolutely loved it. And the characters, oh my god, I love the sisters, especially Charlie. She is my favourite. She is so adorable and I love her. We need to protect her at all costs. So this actually did come out as a 5-star on Corpal, which I'm so happy with because I loved this. So characters 10, atmosphere 9, writing 9, plot 8, intrigue 9, logic 9, and enjoyment 10. So yeah, I cannot wait for more in this world because I cannot wait to see what the Widdersham sisters get up to next. Next, we had one of my most anticipated series finales for this year, Eval So Bold and Deadly by Bridget Kemmerer. This book, man, this book broke me. I don't tab books. I don't tab books, but this one got tabbed a lot. I had so much fun reading this as well, and as much as it broke my heart, now I'm quite emotional with books, and as much as it broke my heart, I didn't actually cry until like 50 pages before the end, which is shocking. But there were a lot of moments that I thought would make me cry, but maybe I was just too emotionally drained and couldn't bring myself to cry. I don't know, but I absolutely loved this, and of course this got a 5-star. So characters 10, atmosphere 9, writing 9, plot 8, intrigue 10, logic 8, and enjoyment 10. So yeah, this I really enjoyed the ending to this. A lot of series, every single little thing gets wrapped up, and obviously there's going to be no spoilers. I'm not going to say spoilers, but there is one thing about this ending, that there is a resolution, but it's not completely tied up. So there's always that little bit where you know the ending, but you don't know where that character goes on from that ending, which I love that, because I like either it being left open for possible future books or spin-offs, or you just make up your own mind about how you want that character to go. And yeah, I just really enjoyed the ending. I thought it was a very satisfying ending for me personally. I know it's not an ending that everyone liked, but I really enjoyed the ending. Next up, we have A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This book, right, February was a month of books breaking me. Like, honestly, this was a bit of a roller coaster. And what I love about this series is it's got the basic friends to lovers to enemies to lovers to enemies to lovers trope. I lost count how many times it goes back and forth, but I love how it's done. And there's so many points in this book where I want to scream at the main characters, because you're like, stop acting like enemies, just do something about this. But you have to wait, and there's like so much tension between them, and honestly I absolutely love this. And the ending got me. Like, how I'm gonna wait for the 3rd book, I do not know, because I need it now. Because that ending, however, there was one thing that I felt was missing that could have been in, but it wouldn't have really affected the plot much. It's just something I wanted in. But I don't think it's going to be in the 3rd book, which makes me sad. But I'd be very, very happy and grateful if that certain thing was in the 3rd book. But we'll see. Of course, this did get a 5-star. Characters 8, atmosphere 9, writing 9, plot 10, intrigue 10, logic 8, and enjoyment 10. Need I say more? Next up, I do not have a physical copy or really an ebook copy, because this isn't officially a book. Fix Your Attitude. It is a fan fiction on, you can find it on Wattpad, but I'm an AO3 girl. And it's by someone called Casa Novella. So I don't have anything for it. However, I really enjoyed this. This is a Kylo Ren reader insert fic, and there are so many smutty scenes. It is so good. There is also a plot to it, and I did really enjoy the plot as well. But let's be real, the smut's the plot. Like, what else do we read smutty fanfiction for? If we wanted a plot, we'd pick up a book. But this did get a 4-star in Corpal. And I'm really glad that this is on Goodreads, because it gave me the opportunity to actually put it on my, like, for my challenge. So, because it's like 300 odd pages, so it's a novel length. But characters got an 8, atmosphere got 7, writing got 8, plot got 6, intrigue got 8, Logic got 6, and Enjoyment got 10. So yeah, obviously the plot on Logic, there's not really gonna be much in a fan fiction, so that's my reasoning for it. Next up, we have A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J Maas. I actually listened to the audiobook for this, but I have a physical copy, so I'm going to hold it up. I really loved this. This is my favourite book of the month of February, and I have very little doubt that it will stay #1 in my top 10 of 2021. I don't see anything beating this out this year because this is just everything I needed. This has so much in the 750 odd pages, and I'm just so here for it. I loved reading Nesta's story, like from obviously Nesta's point of view and also Cassian's point of view. I loved seeing Nesta grow. I loved seeing her just heal, or at least start to heal, and start to, like, she has very self-destructive tendencies, and I just want her to be happy. But the ending I absolutely loved, and one thing you can go into a Sarah J Maas book knowing is that your characters are gonna be fine, like things are gonna get tough, but she likes her happy endings. So this book just was everything I needed. And the smut, she has upgraded the smut from Akamath and Akawar so much, and I'm here for it. So it's no surprise whatsoever that this got a 5-star. So characters 10, atmosphere 10, writing 10, plot 10, intrigue 10, logic 9, enjoyment 10. The only reason logic got that little bit less is because there's always something that's very convenient that happens to make everything okay. So yeah. Next up we have Persuasion by Jane Austen. I'm slowly getting through the classics, very slowly. I do find it hard to read them, so I try not to cram them all in one go, and spread them out a little bit. But I did really enjoy this. It did only get a 3-star, however, it was, in my opinion, better than Sense and Sensibility, but not better than Pride and Prejudice. Pride and Prejudice remains my favourite classic and one of my favourite books in general. But I did really enjoy this, and it's definitely one that I would reread, which is really good because I have multiple copies of this. But characters got 7, atmosphere got 5, writing 7, plot 7, intrigue 6, logic 8, and enjoyment 7. So yeah, another classic read. Next up we have The Mask Falling by Samantha Shannon. Once again, this is one that I listened to the audiobook. However, this one I did also read along with the book, which I find is just, for me, a much better experience with this series. I've done it with all of the books in the series and really enjoyed having the audio in the background while I'm reading. I love but hate Samantha Shannon because she likes to rip my heart out. And right now it's broken and I need the next book, and I'm scared for the wait I have ahead of, like, to wait for the next book. But this book was amazing. It follows on directly from the events of the song Rising. There is a lot that happens in this, obviously, and watching her have to, like, come to terms with what happened in the song Rising was hard, but honestly so well written, and I just absolutely loved this book. This got a 5-star, which I'm pretty sure the rest of the books in this series have had 4 stars, but this one was just that and got 5 stars. So characters 9, atmosphere 10, writing 10, plot 10, intrigue 10, logic 9, and enjoyment 9. So overall this was a good time. Next up we have Soulbinder by Sebastian de Castell. This is the 4th book in the Spellslinger series, and I am really happy to be back in this series. This is another one I listen along to the audiobook whilst reading. The narrator for this series is the best audiobook narrator I've ever heard. Joe Jameson has one of those voices. He's just amazing at performing these books, and yeah, I absolutely loved this book. This This one really got to me. There was this one thing that happens throughout the book and you're constantly reminded of it and it just hurts. And I was like, no, this can't be. And you don't find out till like right near the end, the resolution to that. And it just got me for the whole thing. But I really enjoyed just his journey of finding new friends. Like, we all love him and he deserves to be happy, and I want him to have friends and find his place. And yeah, this actually got a 5-star, which I'm really happy with. So characters 10, atmosphere 8, writing 9, plot 9, intrigue 9, logic 8 and enjoyment 10. So this is definitely one I'm really excited to continue the series. I've got 2 more left in the series and I'm here for them. Next up, we had my reread of Havenful by Sarah Holland. This was my favourite book of 2020 and for good reason. I absolutely adore this book. I actually listened to the audiobook on my reread, which I really enjoyed. Like, the narrator is really good. And I loved being back in this world in preparation for book 2. And just, there was one thing in particular I actually forgot happened, which is weird because every single other thing I remembered. It was just one tiny little detail I'd forgotten. But this obviously got a 5-star again. So this didn't go through core pile the first time I read it. So this is interesting. Going through core pile, characters got 8, atmosphere 9, writing 8, plot 9, intrigue 10, logic 9 and enjoyment 10. So it's not the highest 5-star. It's not perfect. The writing isn't the best writing I've ever read. However, it is very high up there and it is one of my favourite books of all time. Then we have Finale by Stephanie Garber. This is the final book in the Caraval series, which, what a ride. I did enjoy this. I did only think it was okay for a finale. I definitely would say that Legendary is my favourite in the series, which is very odd because it's not often that the middle book is my favourite, but here we go. There were some things I was a bit unsure about, and the ending, I'm still not sure whether I'm 100% satisfied with the ending. I mean, I am, but I don't know if I'm 100% satisfied. So this ended up getting a 4-star. So we have characters 8, atmosphere 7, writing 7, plot 8, intrigue 7, logic 6 and enjoyment 8. So yeah, I'm really glad I did read this series though, and I did enjoy it. This wasn't my favourite book in the series. And then the final book I read in February was Phoenix Flame by Sarah Holland. This is the sequel to Havenful and I really enjoyed this. I really liked some of the reveals in this and I really liked the ending. However, one thing, it did get a 5-star, and I'm going to go through my individual ratings before I continue with this train of thought. So characters 9, atmosphere 8, writing 8, plot 9, intrigue 10, logic 9 and enjoyment 10. So obviously overall 5-star, and I did really enjoy it. However, I am unsure whether this is a duology or a longer series. Now, if it does turn out that it's a duology, I think this might affect my rating and I might actually change my rating, because although the main plot issue throughout the first 2 books has been resolved, there is so much more that needs to be resolved, and I feel like this could get at least 1 or 2 more books out of it. And if it turns out that it doesn't have any more books in the series, I'm going to actually be very disappointed and it will bring my rating down for this. But for now, it's going as a 5-star based off of the book itself, because I did really enjoy it. And yeah, I don't think, however, that it will end up on my top 10 of the year, which is weird. So that was my February wrap up, which is probably really long, so I'm really sorry about that. I've tried to condense it as much as possible, but if you are still watching, congratulations to making it to the end. I hope you enjoyed this. If you read any of these books, let me know what rating you gave it. And yeah, be sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you next time. Bye.